Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of An Inconvenient Sequel. So obviously, this is, in fact, the sequel to An Inconvenient Truth, the Al Gore global warming documentary that came out a little over 10 years ago now. And I'm going to start this review off with a bit of a disclaimer. I am the target audience for this film. Plain and simple. I'm all about the environment. I do believe in global warming. I do believe in protecting our environment, the other creatures on this earth other than human beings, as well as the atmosphere and our planet in general. But I am going to try to keep this as non-political as I possibly can, and while I am going to touch on some of the points made in this film, I'm also going to review this as a film. How does it do as a documentary itself? So starting off with our positives. I really appreciate that there was kind of a narrative going on. We were following Al Gore as he went through various things. At times, it felt a little bit pointless. It felt like we were watching a day in the life of Al Gore as he went through these random things. And I definitely think some of that was to kind of endear you to Al Gore the person, rather than Al Gore the environmental activist. But it kind of felt a little bit unnecessary at times to go on these little side adventures with Al Gore. But this wasn't just a presentation. This wasn't Al Gore going through his global warming slideshow, his PowerPoint, and, having a lecture. This wasn't a complete lecture class. And in that, we go through the Paris Climate Agreement that happened last year, 2016, and what I really loved was kind of the behind-the-scenes look. We got to see, as these politicians were talking to each other, how to get these deals done for this big international agreement. And I also agreed that we went to these other countries and we didn't just focus in on the United States, we focused on the entire world and the fact that this is, in fact, a global issue. And in touching on that, this film does a really great job of presenting the fact that, while of course it's an issue about the environment itself, but when you're trying to get things done, really anything done in any arena, the bottom line is always going to be the dollar sign. And personally, I believe that's very much unfortunate, but it's just the simple fact of how things work. So I love that they showed, hey, this is all great, but from an economic standpoint, what do we do? And it also focused in on countries like India, who was a holdout in that agreement for some time, then presenting the fact of, that's wonderful for you and other developed nations, but what do? We don't have this infrastructure already in place. We're still getting these things into place. We don't have the finances. We don't have the expendable money to go ahead and put all of this in. So what do you suggest for us? And I thought the way they navigated that was great, but also the fact that they presented that. Like virtually every political issue, virtually every widespread issue in general, this is so multifaceted. I also really enjoyed that the film took us to real life kind of examples. We went down to places like Miami as the tide flooded the streets, and you heard people saying, I've lived here for 40 years and it's never gotten like this. I mean, people are just driving through rivers on the street. It's right here in Miami. And it's really alarming that people driving through these things and seeing them getting worse continue to deny that there's anything going on. To me, that's baffling, but this film once again presented, look, it's right here. And while talking about economics, the film highlighted several U.S. cities that are completely 100% reliant on renewable energy sources right now. And the city they highlighted was a super hardcore, red, conservative city in the state of Texas that has made it its mission and is at like 90% renewable energy right now, and within the next year or so is going to get to 100%. So again, it showed that this is a bipartisan issue. This can be worked at from both sides of the aisle. We can do it. But it just showed all of the different kind of natural disasters and did make a tie-in to how the environment in general is contributing to these natural disasters, how common they're becoming, and how severe they are. But jumping over into the negatives, I don't know that the case is quite strong enough when we were in the actual, like, fact, statistic, correlation segment. Al Gore wasn't presenting the facts behind the correlations, which I think is definitely a problem. I know that the facts are there, I know that the statistics are there, and I think maybe he is relying on you to already have a knowledge and already have done your homework before you came in here, but I think that's a mistake. In a documentary, you need to be providing the knowledge, you need to be providing those statistics, and I wish we had spent more time on legitimate statistics. A statistical analysis, if you will, of what it was like when Inconvenient Truth came out, and what it's like right now, and why there's a need for this sequel. Whether that is very slow progression, a decline, or just not as much progression as Al Gore would have liked, I would have liked to see that comparison. And across the board, I would have just liked to see more statistics, more facts, because I know they're there. But many others may not. And my final point isn't really a positive or a negative, it's going to just lead into my recommendation, is that this film is very much aimed at me. It's very much aimed at a certain target audience. It's not looking to convert new people. It's looking to strengthen the base of folks that are already fired up, who already believe in global warming, who already are wanting to do something about it. And I think maybe that's why they decided to show more of the political side of things, and do a little bit more storytelling than cold hard facts through and through, is to strengthen that fan base. There is a great call to action at the end of this movie, but again, it's solely focused in on, if you're already here, let's do this. And I have to say, I do understand why the film went there. If you see Al Gore's name on it, and you see that it's a sequel to An Inconvenient Truth, if you're not on board with the message of this film, you're not on board, and you're not going to pay to go see it, you're not going to rent it, you're not going to have any interest in what's going on here. So, why not create something to kind of rally the troops and move forward, especially, as the film documented, as our government pulls back and pulls back and pulls back on things like the EPA, or takes us out of the Paris Agreement that they showed how much work went into signing and getting passed. So, honestly, if this film is targeted towards you, I say give it a full price ticket. I think you will enjoy it. I think you will enjoy seeing all of the background, all of the political nonsense mumbo jumbo that has to go into these things. And I think it will make you think a little bit harder, like Al Gore was faced with in the film, on the different issues, on the human issues, on the economic issues, on all of these different things, in what we need to think about when we're going forward with this fight. But if you are a conservative, or maybe a liberal, that does not believe that global warming is real and does not believe that climate change is happening at all, don't mean to sound rude, but if cold hard facts and evidence and science hasn't shown you that something is happening, this film is not going to change your mind either. So you can go ahead and just bypass it. There's nothing in here that is going to make a compelling enough argument for you. So, that has been my review of An Inconvenient Sequel. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see An Inconvenient Sequel, and have you seen the first? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!